Thank you, and coming up in this incredibly exciting show, a young woman changes a wheel. An older woman drinks some lager. And Richard looks at a book.
Look at that.
However, we begin with a film from James May, who's in his 80s.
What?
No, wait, sorry. We begin with a film from James May about the 80s.
Yes. Thank you. The 80s, a time of marvellous excess, you know, Gordon Gekko and big shoulder pads and, of course, incredible supercars, the greatest of which, without question, was this one.
The Ferrari Testarossa was excess on wheels. Be it looks, attitude, or even size.
When this car came out, people were absolutely aghast at how wide this car was. I don't mean wide like Del Boy, I mean wide as in width. It was enormous, especially at the back. And it simply oozed charisma from every one of its slatted panels. It was unquestionably the only car that could star in Miami Vice. Go! The price of this car, when it went on sale in 1985, was £62,666. That is, as I'm sure you know, the number of the beast. And when you unleashed its 56312, it was over 180 miles an hour. That was an astonishing figure for the time. Here comes a bit dangerous then. Right then, let's go. Go faster.
In fact, Enzo Ferrari loved that show so much, he actually gave its star, Don Johnson, his own Testarossa. And Don was just the tip of the celebrity iceberg.
Rod Stewart had one, Elton John had one, Mike Tyson had one, O.J. Simpson had one, and presumably wore driving gloves. If the 1980s were the... Well, this was the perfect car for the era.
Here we go! 26 miles an hour, or to be precise, more than the Ferrari. Go, go, go! Thing is, supercars, to me, are all about being the ultimate. Doesn't matter what that is, but it has to be an ultimate. And this is the ultimate bedroom wall poster car. When I first saw one of these as a kid, it lit a flame in my heart. And when I saw one today, as a middle-aged man, that same flame roared into life. This incredible machine came from 86 miles an hour, or to be precise, more than the Ferrari. Go! Thing is, supercars, to me, are all about being the ultimate. Doesn't matter what that is, but it has to be an ultimate. And this is the ultimate bedroom wall poster car. When I first saw one of these as a kid, it lit a flame in my heart. And when I saw one today, as a middle-aged man, that same flame roared into life. This incredible machine came from a company that didn't have half the resources of Ferrari. Let me give you an example. This car might look super aerodynamic, like a missile, but in fact, it never saw the inside of a wind tunnel. They couldn't afford to put it in one. So instead, they ran a prototype up and...
Get out of the way!
Here he comes.
Eventually, we pulled over so we could continue arguing face to chest.
Oh, the brakes on. Brilliant.
On the line.
Right. Oh, that's...
Hurry up! Performance figures back in the day. So now, finally, we can find out for real.
Three, two, one.
Oh, God.
Come on, come on, come on. Keep going.
With their performance figures back in the day. So now, finally, we can find out for real.
Three, two, one.
We're off. Gotta keep the pressure on. It was a privilege, wasn't it?
Special.
Yeah.
Couple of things I think you forgot to mention in that film.
Hang on a minute.
What?
By attacking those cars, you are destroying the very foundations of every...
Let's do this more by seeing how slowly those cars go round the Ebola-drome. Look at that lunging and pitching there as she heads on to the isn't. That flat 12. Back towards old lady's house, lumbering towards substation. Just feel the sheep to go. And across the line. Absolutely not. Like sliding a Testarossa. I wouldn't do that for all the tea in China.
Technical point that might confuse the viewers. You just said the roar from the flat 12,
Yeah.
which is sort of right, but I...
Hurry up! It's a flattish V12. Anyway,
Flattish.
It's now time to see how the Lambo got on. Off to the second curve on the straight. Back on the power towards your name here. Doyle wrestled back towards old lady's house. Now in the damp dash towards substation. And there we are across the line.
Great.
Right. There's a new breed of small hot hatchback. And to find which one is best, we took the Grand Tour to that field just over there. Yes, the start point for our test was our own track in Oxford. Here we go! At this point, we decided that instead of arguing about which car was best, we should do some actual tests, starting with a pursuit race. Go. There we go, speed up again now. For heaven's sake, I beg them. Mushroom! At this point, we decided that instead of arguing about which car was best, we should do some actual tests, starting with a pursuit race. Go. Drive carefully. There's my foot pinned to the floor. Very quick. It is quite scary through here. Good.
Several laps later, both of us were still the same distance apart.
It's just occurred to me, we both have the same knowledge of this track. We both have 197 horsepower. This race may take a while. However,
Brakes are fading.
get a bloody move on. So, much to the annoyance of our colleague, we decided to call it a draw.
Can I just say...
Let's do this. A 2-litre turbo.
3, 2, 1, go. Drive fast. Fast.
Yes!
Oh, what?
A victory for the fat boy!
That can only mean that VW have got their figures wrong. Again.
This surprising result called for a bit of a debrief. The mushroom-coloured polo
The brown VW has
won. Actually, I've got to be honest, I am quite surprised by its
I'm slightly
astonishing
surprised.
victory.
It is.
Get out of the way. Text from Mr. Willman. You idiots.
Here we go!
As we left the test track and began our new youth-friendly road test.
Damn him.
Oh, God. That'll do. I love speeding.
Apart from you drinking plastic, which is evil, I thought that was all going rather well, the test appealing to young people.
Yeah, we'd talked about carbon dioxide and...
Get a bloody move on.
But unfortunately, Mr. Willman said we hadn't got the idea at...
Hurry up!
Yes, and then the winner would be the person who got the most amount of those pictures.
Get out of the way.
Dinner with my wife, Mindy.
Jeremy, meanwhile, had decided that to get himself noticed, he'd have a puncture and then get a celebrity, like Binky Felstead, to help him mend it.
You grab the spare wheel.
Really?
You have to twiddle it so the car goes up, way really high in the sky.
Come on. Get back into it.
Exhausted.
James, meanwhile, was driving a car that's never been papped, through a part of London that's never been papped, with his dinner date, historian Mary Beard, who hasn't been papped either.
And I'm absolutely delighted. I mean, this has made my month, this.
Oh, well, thank you. That's very generous.
Let's do this. Get out of the way.
Mr. Willman came up with another youth-friendly idea.
Yep, he said he...
Get a bloody move on.
His name is David Yarrow. He's one of the world's greatest wildlife...
Here we go!
Yeah, got your number.
Okay.
Eventually, my shot was in the can. As was May's. And so, after no work at all, was Jeremy's. Anyway, with our pictures posted on Instagram, we were all given another...
Let's do this.
Quite a lot. You will notice that something that's very popular with so-called millennials is the unboxing video. It's usually something like a...
Get a bloody move on.
Welcome, brothers and sisters, to my latest unboxing video, and this is a big one. It's a car.
Meanwhile, Jeremy had decided to create a fast show style character called David Souffle.
Back at the airfield, my next stunt was ready. Right, now down there is a man. I don't know his name, but it doesn't matter because in a moment I'm going to run him over.
3, 2, 1, go! And here we go. Yes! Didn't kill a man.
Here we go!
That was an impressive stunt.
Cool, yeah. That.
How's his therapy working out?
Getting over it.
Okay, what we've got here.
Hurry up!
I think that gives you a 0, Hammond.
Yeah, so you got a 0 now, James.
Way.
Yes, I do. Which moves us on to Instagram.
Okay.
James May, how did you?
Let's do this.
Look at this in a more positive light, Hammond. He has got 1.6 million.
Get a bloody move on.
Adding up. Unless you manage.
It's out of the way.
Yeah, and on that terrible disappointment, it's time to end. Thank you so much for watching. See you next time. Goodbye. Civilization is a town.
Let's do this. Hurry up!
And in today's incredibly topical show, Neil Armstrong walks on the moon. Some angry cyclists. And I throw a sandwich out of the window.
Here we go!
This is the new V8 Vantage.
And, well, it's not an ugly car.
Hurry up!
And as the smallest, punchiest, sportiest car in the Aston lineup, it's fast too.
Go, go, go! 0 to 60 takes 3.5 seconds. You're not going to be embarrassed by 911 Carrera. Oh my God! Come on, this is it! Unleash the beast! speed, 195.
But here's the thing. Astons have always been beautiful.
Let's do this.
They just didn't feel as well made or well engineered as some rivals.
Get out of the way.
Yeah, in an AMG, this engine doesn't make this noise.
Here we go.
Advantage handles corners.
So let's see what's what. We're on. Built on an all-new chassis, a shorter version of the one under the DB11. And it's the first Aston Martin to be fitted with an electronic diff. A very expensive but very valuable weapon of war. Oh no. Then we come to the end. It's a 4-litre V8. It has twin turbos. It makes 510 horsepower. Oh my God! Fully power, this is good. Oh my God! Time to play. Oh no! Oh no. Yeah, it works. In the past, you could buy an Aston and love it, but still know.
Hurry up. Get out of the way.
Let's find how fast Abby can get one around the abode.
Plenty, we're at the drop down into your name here. Working away there at that unusual and frankly stupid square steering wheel. Coming in wide for old lady's house. Keeping it neat round there, and now the short squirt down to substation. Cross the line.
It's exciting.
It does. It's like an old-fashioned racing car, moving around.
The old days.
It's a good-looking lap, that. Right, let's find out where it ended up on our lap board, shall we? Here we go. Look at exactly the same speed as a 911 GT3 RS.
Yeah, and when you think the Aston doesn't have a massive wing and scaffolding in the back, that is pretty impressive.
Very
Here we go!
Now, this year marks the 50th.
Get a bloody move on.
Now, these men were generally of a type. They were fighting.
Let's do this.
The Corvette, America's premier sports car.
Yes, John Glenn, holder of supersonic flight records and the first American to orbit the Earth, drove this.
love-in between the American astronaut and the Corvette started with Alan Shepard, the first American in space in 1961. And on his safe return to Earth, he was given a free Corvette by General Motors, a sort of medal for services to the country.
By 1969, just inside Kennedy's deadline, NASA was ready.
Here we go!
Listen, Tranquility Base here. The Eagle has landed.
When they finally landed,
Get a bloody move on.
and when I say Corvette, I'm the first person to set foot somewhere other than the Earth. Go. Forward. Help! The owner of this car, when he realised what it was he'd found, decided not to restore it. He would leave it exactly as it was. He would just do enough to make it run. So he hasn't done the paint, he hasn't replaced bits in here. This is all exactly as he found it. There's patina on the bonnet there. There's a scuffed bit on the door. It's real. Hello, Rev Counter. Neil Armstrong's looked at you, hasn't he? Two sounds of the 60s, aren't they?
Let's do this. Anyway, that's enough about space now. I want to move it on. Here we go! To see out of, because the windows are made from glass. And all the controls fall easily to hand because they're on the dashboard or the steering wheel rather than under the carpet in the boot. Go. You may be wondering, what makes it so special? Well, to find out, I've decided to break the test down into segments so that all the important questions can be answered. To find out, we've come here to the banked Millbrook Bowl in Bedfordshire. Let's do this off speed. And here we go. Go. Okay, what I've done now is hooked up to the back end of a Bentley Bentayga. Now, this is a car with a top speed of 180 out of the way. So that should mean I go faster. Let's find out. It's like being in Bluebird. My only worry is that I just saw a single magpie, and it is Friday the 13th as I do this. So now I'm going to ease out of this dangerous situation.
Hurry up!
If space is smaller than the aircross, then the answer is no.
No. Oh, for God's sake. Whoops.
And with that sorted out, it's time for one of the most important tests a little car can face. To find out, I've come to Southampton.
Get a bloody move on.
It's Booty McBoatface. The challenge I'd come up with was to see if the 1-ton C3 could pull the 13,000-ton ship a distance of 25 metres. Right, now I should explain that my colleagues, May and Hammond, think this is a get out of the way. I, however, disagree. Let's do this! Go. Christ, there's some elasticity in that rope. Ooh, hello. Why is it going backwards? This is a bit of a worry. Is that ship? The ship's going back. Look. The ship is going back. What? The situation's bad. As we reattached the tow rope, I wondered what had gone wrong. Why did he put his engines in reverse as a sort of amusing joke? I mean, he is Greek, the captain. We're not German. We didn't mess your economy up. With the rope reattached, we began the test.
Get a bloody move on. No.
The power and strength of the Citroen. That is Boaty McBoatface admitting defeat. And with that sorted out, it was time to address the C3's practicality. To answer this, we've come to France, where an armed robbery is in progress.
Burglars anglaises avec visage horrible are maintenant making their escape in a red 1972 De Tomaso Pantera GTS.
Ouais, j'ai à vous, 5 par 5.
Oui.
Au-dessous et sautier. Right. Let's do this!
Good. Oh, God. Look at that for a tidy line. Oh, dearie me. Go, 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 go! Oh, God, that looks tricky.
All around the world, police forces normally have pretty good cars. The Americans have Crown Vics, Germans have BMs, Italians have Alphas. But France has always been a bit of a burgling free-for-all because you knew that you were only ever going to be chased by Inspector Clouseau in a diesel Renault Megane. Well, not today, because I'm in an aircross and I've got a moustache. To make my life a bit tricky, the robber's Pantera wasn't 7-litre V8, producing 550 horsepower, 4 times more than I had. I caught up with them. Oh, heavens! Oh, damn it! It was beginning. beginning to seem that despite my best efforts, I wouldn't be able to catch the Pantera. But then, when all seemed lost, the Citroën played its trump card and didn't break down, whereas the Pantera reverted to type and did.
Let's do this.
Italy.
Here we go!
Factors on a job like this is traction.
And that's where this knob down here comes in. It engages something called the grip control system, and that sounds like a gimmick, but it isn't.
Yes, look at the little Citroën clawing away.
Hurry up!
I am zooming up here.
Get out of the way.
Yeah. Christ, if I go over the edge now.
Go.
Finally, the border moved into view.
Come on, little aircross.
There you are, clever car. So there we are, faster than itself at the test track, strong enough to pull a ship, big enough for the entire Jolly family and a horse, and better at invading Italy than an elephant.
Really? What a machine. Funky little car. Very good.
Are you all right? In the head, I mean.
What do you mean?
We learned nothing.
You did, you learned it could get to the...
Hurry up!
Is there not something... OK, the Vauxhall, is it... How easy is it to...
Here we go!
Yes, I have, and on that terrible disappointment, it's time to end. Thank you so much for watching. See you next time. Goodbye.
sunshiny day. Think I can make it now, the pain is gone. All of the bad feelings have disappeared. Here is the rainbow I've been praying for. It's gonna be a bright, sunshiny day. Think I can make it now, the pain is gone.
Go. Let's do this.
Hello, that was the Hothouse Flowers, and now look what we have here.
Get a bloody move on.
Coming up now is a small montage of what you can expect.